sports.
We are sports. We are sports.
The comeback kids did it again early this morning.
And Freddie Freeman coming up. One swing could end it for the Braves. High fly ball to right. Berg going back at the wall. The Braves have won it! And today they have a chance to do it 2 more times as the Braves and Mets will fight the rain again as a long day and night doubleheader starts now. We join you again from Atlanta, Georgia. A day-night doubleheader greets us here at Turner Field. A good crowd filing in under sunny skies. How nice is that to see as the Braves and Mets hook up for the second straight day. Hi again, friends. Chip and Joe and Tom Glavine with you here at the ballpark. Atlanta, a walk-off win last night over Dillon Gee and the Mets. 2-1 was the final score. Joe, that's the good news. The bad news is it was a costly Braves victory.
Yeah, you said sunny skies, but there's some clouds that kind of formed this morning when we found out that Evan Gattis injured himself last night. It was in his 3rd at-bat on this swing where he kind of lunged for a pitch running away from him, and he strained his right oblique. To such extent that the Braves have placed him on the 15-day disabled list. They feel like they've gotten it before it did a whole lot of damage, and it will heal quickly, but the Braves will be without El Oso Blanco for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, never a good time for injuries, obviously, and certainly for Evan at this stage of his career. He gotten off to a red-hot start. You hate to see that get derailed in any way, but much like the Freddie Freeman situation, they're going to put him on the DL, take this thing cautiously, and hopefully it's only going to be 2 weeks and he'll be back out there.
Tyler Pasternak was called up from Gwinnett, got here about 6 o'clock this morning to take Gattis' spot on the roster. So to game 1 we go, and a special day for Alex Wood. Not his big league debut, but his big league debut as a starting pitcher, Tom.
Yeah, he's getting a great opportunity here. He had a great year in Mississippi as a starter, 4-2 before he got called up. He's done a nice job here exclusively out of the bullpen for Atlanta. And, yeah, this is a big opportunity for him to, go out there, have that opportunity to show what he can do as a starting pitcher, something that obviously he wants to try and make a good impression with and try and crack this rotation sometime in the near future.
And Matt Harvey gets the ball for the New York Mets. He is the flame-throwing right-hander and a big part of their future.
He's got a big arm. He's our Volkswagen pitching performance. He's 5-1, but he has really been dominating hitters in the National League. He's 2nd in strikeouts. He's 1st in whip. He is terrific. He throws hard. He's upper 90s with a fastball, an excellent slider. Braves saw him last year, but nothing like what we're going to see today.
And nothing like we've seen in a long time off the bat of Freddie Freeman. He is sizzling hot, was the hitting hero last night. And when we come back, Freddie indeed has been fabulous. And the equally fabulous Tom Hart will talk to him right after this.
Braves and Mets meet as we continue this 5-game and 4-day series. Welcome back to Turner Field. I'm Tom Hart. Freddie Freeman sent all the Braves fans home late but happy last night with a walk-off winner in the 9th inning. It was just another day or morning in the ballpark for Fab Five Freddie. He did it Saturday, procuring a walk-off against Sergio Romo and the defending world champ Giants. A 9th inning clincher that sent Andrelton Simmons home with the game winner, and it put dirt in the back of Freeman's jersey for the first time. And then again, last night, Dylan G tried to come inside. Freddie Freeman took him outside with a walk-off game winner that cued the celebration at about 1:30 in the morning here at Turner Field. He's our Georgia Lottery hitting the jackpot. Check out the numbers. Last 26 have been fantastic. His last 84 at-bats, he has more runs driven in than strikeouts, and consistency is the key. He hasn't had back-to-back hitless games this season. And oh, by the way, that walk-off home run last night may have overshadowed a 3-hit game against Dylan G, who was going for a complete game shutout. That went by the wayside early this morning, and so today, first of a doubleheader, the Braves and Mets have a chance to finish 3 games on the same day. Should be a fun one. Let's play 2 and finish 3. Chip, Joe, and Tom have the call from a gorgeous Turner Field with the sun out here today. Coming up next.
Ed Mangan, he's the head groundskeeper here at Turner Field, and he and his crew have been awfully busy the last 24 hours. And fellas, there's a good chance they're going to be busy again today. We do have bright sunny skies, warm temperatures, 78% humidity, and there is a 60% chance of rain at some point today. And that was why there was so much urgency to get last night's game started, even as we approached 11 o'clock last evening.
Yeah, I had to try and do something to get that game in. And let's hope that 60%, if it does happen, is between about 5 and 6:30 this afternoon.
So what's going through the mind, Tommy, of that man going to the mound as a starting pitcher in the bigs for the first time?
Well, you know, he's had the luxury of being here a little bit, so he's calmed his nerves a little bit in terms of the excitement of being in the big leagues. But, you know, there's a different set of nerves that's going to come along with this first opportunity to get a start. So, you know, he's going to have to find a way to settle that down. You see what he's done or what he did as a starter at AA Mississippi, having a good year down there before he got called up. It's the oldest cliche in the book and the hardest thing to do. Everybody tells you just go out there and do what you were doing to get called up, but you have to fight that natural tendency to think you got to be even better.
And that's part of what is his forward keys to pitching success today, nerves. Trying not to overpitch a little bit and do more than he's capable of, because what he has, the stuff he has, is good enough to win at this level. his changeup is really his best pitch, in my opinion. He's got a good fastball, strikes out a lot of guys, but he's going to need that changeup today to throw off these big league hitters.
And these big league hitters for the New York Mets line up this way for Terry Collins. The Mets at 25-40 on the year, 14.5 games behind the Braves in the Eastern Division race. Colin Cowgill leads off the Toyota starting 9. Danny Murphy, David Wright second and third. Marlon Byrd is in right field. Big night last night for Lucas Duda. He's the first baseman for now. John Buck's the catcher. Juan Lagares is in center field. Omar Quintanilla, the shortstop, bats 8th. And we'll get another look at one of the Mets' bright stories this year. That's right-hander Matt Harvey. Here's your umpiring crew for game 1 of our doubleheader. Eric Cooper will have home plate. Chad Fairchild is the umpire at first. David Rackley is in at second base. Jeff Kellogg is the umpire over at third. Well, the Mets lost a game last night about as tough as you can.
I think it's the worst way to lose ever, because you had a pitcher who was dominating the whole game, and he owned that game for all but about 5 seconds.
Right.
Yeah. And a great win for the Braves.
And you can't fault Terry Collins for the move he didn't make, can you?
No,
Not in my opinion.
I don't. Me either. I mean, that guy's throwing that well. He's been that effective. Again, I'll question the pitch selection before I question the decision to leave him out there.
So Alex Wood goes to work, and this is low and outside to Colin Cowgill. 79 degrees at first pitch officially in Atlanta. And a quick strike for the Mets left fielder.
Good control has been a hallmark for Alex Wood, even in college ball. He didn't walk a lot of guys at the University of Georgia. The 3 walks he issued the other night to the Giants was a real aberration for him. He's usually around the plate, makes you put the ball in play or strikes you out.
Ground ball on one big hop to third. Chris Johnson gets Cowgill for out number 1. Here's the rest of the Braves defense for game 1. Reed Johnson gets a start in left field. That's been a long time coming. Jordan Schaefer's in center. Hayward in right. And Gerald Laird is behind the plate. Braves have been carrying 3 catchers. Now they're down to 2 with Gaddis on the disabled list. But Joe, I would assume for Laird and Alex Wood, similar situation that Laird has faced with Julio Teheran.
Yeah, I think you can put a lot of trust in Gerald or Brian McCann if he were back there saying, you know, you tell me what you want me to throw and I'll do my best to put it where you want it.
Soft ground ball off the bat of Murphy, and he's out number 2. 2 ground outs for Wood to start.
Tommy, I think with Wood's delivery, as unorthodox as it is, it's kind of like in a way like Madison Bumgarner the other night. Right-handed hitters especially were having trouble picking him up. And I think for Alex Wood, he throws 94. His ball's on you before you realize it.
Yeah, I think, like you said, with that unorthodox delivery, I think the hitters take notice of that. They're trying to figure out what it all is, where they're trying to pick up the ball, and then, oh, by the way, that ball gets on you pretty quick. You know, it can be a very deceiving combination for Alex.
Well, here's a real tough hitter, David Wright, batting a cool 300, 9 homers, 36 RBIs. David closing in on 1,500 career hits. There's the change.
And there's that changeup, too. That's a beauty.
Pretty good when you can throw it to a very established hitter in a 1-0 count and have confidence to do it.
I really don't have a way of describing Wood's delivery. It's as if he's going backwards and forwards at the same time with his motion. Right?
Uh-huh. I'm just not sure. Maybe you can help me out here, Tom. I don't know how he generates that kind of velocity from being kind of bent backwards in a way like that.
I don't know. I mean, like I said, it's very unorthodox. You know, but somehow he's getting over that back leg and pushing off and generating some power.
And I would imagine that's the kind of motion that maybe scared off some teams when Alex was coming out of Georgia. Braves happy to have him. As he'll fire another full count pitch to David Wright.
I'm sure somewhere along the line somebody tried to get him to quiet those mechanics down a little bit, but you know, that's why we say it all the time. There's more than one way to get the job done, and he does a good job of getting back to that back leg and getting over the top.
Ugla had right played perfectly. 3 groundouts for Alex Wood as he fires 14 pitches at the Mets in a scoreless top of the first inning. Mets series. Alex Wood with a scoreless first. Now Atlanta goes after flame-throwing Matt Harvey, who's 5-1 so far for New York.
Yeah, this guy's been pretty good.
And here's the lineup he'll face. It's brought to you by Toyota. Schaefer, Reed Johnson, Jason Hayward, 1, 2, and 3. Last night's hero, Freddie Freeman, the cleanup man. Gerald Laird's behind the plate, hitting behind Chris Johnson. And Andrelton Simmons, who's slumping a bit, dropped down at the 8th spot in front of Alex Wood.
Matt Harvey, 5-1. Like I said, he's pretty good. And this is part of the story here as to why he's so good. You see his rankings in ERA, strikeouts, whip, batting average, slugging percentage, at or near their top in most of those. And there's a whole lot of more interesting stats in their notes today that we'll get to, I'm sure. He's in some pretty good company to start off his career.
His 4 keys to pitching success today: he is on the attack all the time. He's very aggressive and has the stuff to back it up. He's got an outstanding slider to complement his 94 to 98 fastball.
So dial it up a notch, boys.
Yep.
As he's quickly ahead of Schaefer, 0-2. Braves have seen this man before. He pitched against Atlanta last August, and the Braves beat him. Gave up only 2 runs in 6 innings, but walked 5 guys. And he throws 3 straight strikes to Schaefer, 95, 96, and 97 miles an hour.
And I think the walks you mentioned, Chip, are what caused us to not really, he didn't leave a real lasting impression because he was kind of wild that day. He only gave up 2 runs but got beat 4-0. So this success today has made me anxious to see the guy. Maybe not the hitters, but from a spectator standpoint, I couldn't wait to see him.
And for a Mets club that frankly is having a bad year. Johnson will pop up. Quintanilla at short flips the glasses down and has plenty of room. Gives way to the center fielder, Nogueras, who makes the catch for the second out. But for this Mets club, which is playing in what's a lost 2013 every 5th day, this guy gives them hope for that day and for years to come.
No question. He's the kind of guy that as people learn more about him, you're going to see bigger crowds on the road when this guy's pitching, and you're for sure going to see the bigger crowds at Citi Field when he's on the mound.
Base is empty for Jason Hayward. And that's taken down low. Jason 1 for 4 last night. hit was a 6th inning single. And the Braves had just 5 hits last night, and Freddie Freeman had 3 of them.
Yeah, and 2 of them were in the 9th inning back to back. And is he popping that glove? This guy's 6'4", 225, out of New London, Connecticut, but played college ball at the University of North Carolina, and the Mets made him the 10th pick overall in the draft in 2010.
And if memory serves, that start that we saw at Citi Field might have been his first home start. I'm not sure about that. I remember he had family and friends there for New York. But he's got what you can't teach. That's 96-7.
This is we got a lot of numbers on him, of course, but how about this one? 10 starts this season of 7 or more innings and 2 or fewer runs. That's the most of any starting pitcher in baseball.
And Hayward is down swinging. Couple of strikeouts for Matt Harvey. Speed on that one clocked at 100 miles an hour. Wow. 3 up, 3 down for both young starters in the first inning.
Hard at the ballpark. It's the 31st professional appearance for Alex Wood in his first major league start. An adjustment college pitchers have to make when they come to pro ball is not just to the game, but to the ball itself. Here's what I'm talking about. College ball in one hand, pro ball in the other. The seams are much higher on a college ball. In fact, a ½ millimeter higher. What does that mean? Well, it means a better grip for one, and according to ESPN Sports Science, that means a big change in the spin of a ball. 20% faster spin means 20% greater break. Alex Wood said it was certainly an adjustment, one he got over quickly, but one both he and Matt Harvey had to make on their quick rises through the minors to pro ball.
Wow, thank you, Dr. Hart. That was good stuff.
And I would concur. There's a whole lot more seams on those little league balls and minor league balls than there are in those big league balls.
Marlon Byrd leads off the Mets second. Wasn't a fun night at the plate for Byrd last night. A couple of strikeouts, a ground out to short, and a double play. That snapped his 5-game hitting streak.
Quick, enjoy the sunshine.
I didn't want to say, but I was thinking the same thing as I just peeked over the left field roof.
Outside, Wood walks Byrd. First base runner of the day for the Mets. And here's Lucas Duda.
Braves have been very fortunate looking at our Home Depot tools from the dugout. The fact that the Braves haven't had to dig in their dugout for very many starting pitchers this year. They're the last team to only have used 5 starting pitchers.
You almost want to put an asterisk next to that stat today because this wasn't a scheduled doubleheader. This is a makeup. It takes a strike. It's nothing wrong.
Yeah, you don't want to, certainly don't want to have to do that, but the fact that it was due to an extra game, not an injury, is certainly a good thing. But yeah, I mean that's a great luxury for the Braves right now. They got 5 guys that are going out there every 5 days, and they're all pitching well.
That pitch to Duda. Back-to-back breaking balls.
In the 7 innings we've seen him pitch coming into the start, when he's used that breaking ball, it's been real effective to lefties, I thought, and he has a good feel for it, kind of throwing it at them and getting them to flinch.
We've talked, Tommy, about that in your career. One of your best pitches was the changeup. You didn't like throwing it to left-handed hitters, did you?
No, you weren't supposed to. You know, you go through those evolutions. I mean, I was a fastball curveball guy when I first came up, and then realized I better come up with a pitch that I could throw for strikes because I couldn't throw my curveball for strikes enough. But you know, I'll say amongst a lot of the changes that you see in the game today, and how it's played, and how guys are bigger and stronger and faster, it seems to me that these kids that are coming up to the big leagues now are much more polished and refined than most of us were when we got here. At least in the guys that I'm familiar with, myself, Smoltz, Avery. These guys seem to come up here with a good idea.
And that's due to what?
I would have to say it's due to coaching somewhere along the line, whether it's, you know, college, certainly the minor league system. I mean, look, you got to give the Braves minor league instructors a ton of credit for what they've done across the board with player development, and I'm sure between Roger and the rest of the minor league pitching coaches, there's a philosophy that they're trying to stick to and get these guys ready.
We've also got Dave Wallace down there, who's an experienced major league pitching coach, knows his stuff certainly as a minor league pitching coordinator.
Because it's hard when you're down there. I mean, it's all about how can I get to the next level as quick as I can, and part of the problem there is you might fall into the trap of relying on the things that you do really well too much and not refine the other parts of your game.
Good pitch.
Couple of walks back-to-back starts the second inning for the Mets. And that'll bring up catcher John Buck.
You know, I'll give you a good example of that in my career. I remember when I was in Double-A, I had what I thought was just a nasty pitch in this forkball that I had. And it was at Double-A because I'd throw it 58 feet and guys would swing at it all day long. And I remember Ned Yost was there at the time, who they brought in to work with a lot of us younger guys. And I said, Ned, that thing's nasty, isn't it? And he just kind of laughed at me and he said, let me tell you something. You better figure something else out before you get to the big leagues because they are not swinging in that in the big leagues. And I was crushed.
Let's see what Alex has in store for us here with 2 on, nobody out. John Buck. Looks like the Mets are playing a waiting game right now.
Yeah, and that's the one thing you don't want to see Alex do, and he hasn't done any of it. You know, as Joe alluded to, he doesn't walk guys, hasn't walked guys, and you know this is where you don't want to start getting nipply.
Go. No swing. 0-2. Thirteen pitches for Wood in the first, 14 so far in the second. Caught a corner. Let's see if he's back on the beam. 2 balls and a strike. Buck's hitting 5 double plays this year. That's second most on the Mets club.
We told the story about him coming to the big leagues and then had trouble seeing the signs, so they took him to the eye doctor and he got glasses. But he had trouble with them this inning. I'll bet he was just sweating up a storm. They kept slipping, so he's taking them off.
Yeah, between the heat and the humidity, I'm sure those things are probably fogging up a little bit.
Well, it just fogged Buck. Blew it right on by him. He dropped the bat and is the first out of the inning.
Apparently his glasses were sliding right off of it as he was delivering. So yeah, he had to pick them up. That's a nuisance. And hey, it's a day game. You ought to be able to see the signs out in trouble today.
Here's Juan Lagares. 2 on, 1 out for the Mets. No glasses, no problem. Strike one.
Maybe there is something to be said for seeing too much when you're out there. So maybe the glasses have just forced him to get rid of all the peripheral stuff and focus on the middle a little bit more.
I can understand if he took him off because he didn't want to see David Wright standing there.
Yeah.
But he had him on in the first inning.
Lagares led off for the Mets last night, went 0 for 4. He's batting 7th today. No balls, 2 strikes.
Struck out his last 2 times up last night too, and on pitches kind of in that same locale, a little down and away, got him to lunge a little bit. Hudson made a real good pitch with a breaking ball going away from him, but we got a lefty out there today.
Missed inside with a fastball at 93. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Struck him out.
Got Buck with the fastball and got Lagares with the changeup.
Yeah, did a nice job of trying to elevate a fastball 0-2. Try to come back and lock him up on the 1-2 pitch, and then followed that up with a really nice changeup and got the swing and the miss for the strikeout.
So a promising inning down to its final hope. It's Omar Quintanilla, the shortstop. 228 average, a couple of homers, and he's knocked in 4. Getting playing time because Ruben Tejada is on the disabled list for the Mets. Tejada went to the DL on May 30th. High, 1 ball, no strikes.
The thing about today for Alex, unfortunately, is he's hooked up with Harvey, who's got a 2.04 ERA. He can't afford to give up a whole lot of runs early with that guy on the mound, because you don't figure to get a lot back.
Bouncing ball up the middle. Simmons handles and flips to second in time. No glasses, no problems for Alex Wood. After walking the first 2 Mets, they fail to break through. Freddie Freeman goes to work for Atlanta. He's hotter than a, well, you know, Joe. Scoreless game.
field, and we broke it down. This is the breakdown of a celebration. How do you do it? Well, first you got to be able to jump the railings. Jason Hayward's good at that as he eyeballs the home run, making sure it stays fair. It is. And Hayward's the first one on the field, jumping the rails like a hockey player in the Stanley Cup. Then you got to put some dance moves into it. Chris Johnson had it, so did B.J. Upton. The hopping continued at home plate. Be aware of your surroundings at all times. Gerald Laird is ready to welcome Freddie Freeman home. Then he saw an opportunity for a fair catch. The helmet was in the air while his teammates caught Freeman. Laird went 10 feet out to catch the helmet, presented it to him later. And, of course, at any great pool party, you got to have water. Chris Medlin is the designated water guy. He'd be a fireman if he wasn't a baseball player. And he was ready and waiting. That's a double-barrel water celebration, and the only waterfall you see headed north instead of south.
That was worth staying up late for last night, wasn't it? Or this morning, whichever way you look at it. As Freddie Freeman has had the game-winning RBI in each of the last 3 Braves victories. He's up to 48 knocked in, 7 homers, and a lofty .327 batting average. So this will be a real fun matchup all day long.
Yeah, 2 guys that are on top of their game right now and going head to head.
2 balls, 2 strikes. He is bringing it.
I mean, to tell you, and it is not with a lot of effort either. Hey, that's something. He just did something that we haven't seen anybody do to Freddie, really, and that's to make him get out of the way. I mean, that was a real good purpose pitch, you know, let her high, make him jackknife out of the way, and at least get his attention, because 98 will do that.
High fly ball toward left. Cowgill going back in the corner has just enough room. And Freeman just missed a solo home run. Instead, he's out number 1 here in the second.
And there were about 15 guys sitting in the dugout, including the manager, and say, why couldn't you have done that last night?
Right. All season long, Braves baseball on Sports South is being presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. The right stuff, the low price every day. 4 up, 4 down for Harvey. Chris Johnson hitting 5th today.
There's a great line in the movie Trouble with the Curve where the old scout Clint Eastwood was explaining to his daughter how you can tell a lot of things if you listen by sound. And remember that scene where she heard that kid playing catch outside? Well, I got to tell you something. Matt Harvey's got the sound.
Hopped up toward Murphy at second. He'll drift back a few steps. And he's got it. 4 out, number 2. So you're saying that the Mets have an acoustical advantage in this game?
Well, so far.
Slight one.
I don't know what John Buck's got in his glove to amplify, but it's working.
Yeah, last night sounded like they were throwing 100 miles an hour. Today, it's pretty darn close.
Yes, he is.
That's what he got Hayward with. And he's been in the upper 90s all afternoons. Gerald Laird, go get him, pal. 271 mark, a homer, 7 RBIs. If you're just joining us and missed the story, Evan Gattis hurt himself on a swing in his 3rd at bat last night. It's a oblique strain on his right side. He was disabled today. So the Braves now with 2 catchers, Laird and Brian McCann.
This was the swing, and one that you see typically cause an oblique injury on a reach. On a big swing like Evans, it's Amazing that it hasn't caused an issue before that.
Line down the left field line, but foul into the Mets bullpen.
Despite a lack of playing time, I'll call it, for Gerald, he always does something to help you win ball games, and he's hitting .385 against right-handed pitching. So don't be surprised at that.
He's seen plenty of great fastballs. Remember, he caught Verlander in Detroit. Now faces Harvey with a 2-2 count. And the inning is over. Third strikeout for Harvey, and the duel continues into a scoreless third inning in game one.
Day is back, so grab your phone and text Delta to South. That's Delta to 76884 for a chance to win round-trip airfare for two anywhere Delta flies in the continental United States, plus hotel accommodations and $250 spending cash. We'll announce the winner on Delta Day this Thursday during our Braves telecast. Message and data rates may apply. Entrants may receive one text message confirming entry. Winner may be contacted by text message.
Remember, that's Thursday. That's day after tomorrow. You better hurry and get your entries in.
And we'll go to the promo bullpen for you for the next one. As Matt Harvey leads off the third against Alex Wood. And a quick strike.
That was a good pitch by Wood with the changeup. Maybe we can get Harvey to strain his oblique.
That's headed for the seats foul. Harvey's still alive. 1 ball, 2 strikes. It's always fun to think about how history might be different if different draft circumstances had taken place. We know all about the disappointing year the Angels have had in the American League West, all the pitching problems they've had. As Harvey's down on strikes. Angels drafted him in the 3rd round in 2007. Couldn't sign him. How nice would he look pitching in front of a lineup that would have Pujols and Trout et al.
He'd look nice in anybody's rotation.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I was going to say, there's probably 9 teams that didn't pick him in that draft that are thinking, we'd look good in our uniform right now.
So Colin Cowgill is the batter. He's 0 for 1.
Guy hit a grand slam his first at bat as a Met. He's the only Met in history to hit a grand slam in his first at bat. That was opening day. 4 RBIs in that one swing. He has 8 total. He was later sent back to AAA.
You should remember, Joe, why the Mets didn't need more Cowgill.
Gotta have more Cowgill.
It's a tough way to start. Grand slam can only go downhill from there.
Mets AAA team is now in Las Vegas. I think that's kind of fitting somehow.
Bright lights, big city.
Either they're Atlantic City, I'm not sure.
Right. Yeah, it's a fun commute, though, huh? When I was a kid, I remember the Pirates had their AAA team in Honolulu, right? All due respect to Pittsburgh, I don't know if being called up from Honolulu would be such a great thing.
No thanks. I'm good.
Right.
I got some things I need to work on.
Swing and a miss. Cowgill is down. And that's 4 strikeouts for Alex Wood.
Another good changeup. Time for our Coors Light Cold Hard Fact, brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. And for the Braves, that has to do with head-to-head games, the last 20 against the Mets, and it's been all Atlanta. Doubled them up in home runs, and less than half of the ERA. Changeup's working well.
Yeah, he's been hitting with it and using it in good counts.
And we won't know till after the game, but doesn't look distracted with the glasses off. Can't tell if. Yep, he's got him off after blocking the first 2 batters in the second inning.
Well, you wear glasses occasionally. I certainly do. I can relate to how when you get sweaty and you just bend over at all and they start to slide off your face, how you're constantly trying to react to catch them or keep them on your face. Again, unless he had one of those really cool black bands wrapped around the back of his head.
Party cords? Or like, remember the things kids wore with the retainers?
Or never wore.
Yeah. Exactly.
Laser Baker said he thought that's what our ears were for, but never wore glasses, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
That's why we call him Laser.
2-2 to Murphy.
Pretty good breeze blowing out toward right now.
I don't like that when this guy's hitting. And he promptly goes the other way on a 3-2 pitch. That is the first hit of the ball game for either club. It comes off the bat of Danny Murphy with 2 outs.
Alex Wood walked off the back of the mound before that last pitch. Gerald Laird's out there, and I don't know if he was showing him something on his hand, like perhaps a blister on his fingernail, under his nail. Something going on there with his left index finger.
David Wright with 2 outs.
And not that one at bat gives the hitters an edge back by any means, but they have seen him one time now, at least from a timing standpoint. That will help the Mets hitters.
Upstairs for Wright. One ball, no strikes.
It's like we talk about all the time. You watch video all you want, but it's not until you get in the batter's box and start to see the pitch coming out of the guy's hand, see what it looks like when he gets to the plate. So yeah, you're right. They've seen some video now. They've seen him one time. See if they make any adjustments.
Dan Uggla calls time, and he'll try to slow Alex down. He is moving at a brisk pace. Bullpen phone begins to ring. 60 pitches, because he's had 6 3-ball counts to the first 12 Mets hitters, and now he balks. Now you got a base open, and Bird on deck. Do you even bother pitching to David Wright here?
I wouldn't, but that's me.
Especially 3-0.
So that's the third walk. And Roger McDowell makes his way to the mound with Marlon Bird coming up.
Yeah, they see what we see, and I'll bet Roger wants to check out his finger to make sure he's all right.
Yeah, this will serve 2 purposes. Yeah, they're looking at his finger, so they want to see what's going on there, and then assuming everything's all right, this is that situation where it's so tough for young pitchers. The game gets going a little bit, you get in a little bit of a jam, and you start speeding things up, and that's what good thing when Uggla came in to try and slow him down. That's the biggest thing you want to try and do as a pitcher, especially a young pitcher, is just slow the game down a little bit and don't get in a hurry to try and make a pitch or get an out, because that's when you're going to make a mistake.
Did you ever pitch out of the bullpen, Tommy, your rookie year? I don't
No, I never. In the big leagues, I never did. I did once or twice in the minor leagues, but never in the big leagues.
So you didn't have the security blanket of at least being in a major league game before you started?
No.
Like Alex has.
Yeah, it used to be that way pretty much all the time when I came up, and maybe a little bit before me, but not as often the case anymore.
Strike 1 to Bird on a fastball. Corey Rasmus is the man loosening in the Braves bullpen. He is the 26th rostered player for the double dip today.
Alex is actually getting more swings and misses at his high fastball than he is at his 2-seamer that he's kind of running away from. Everybody's kind of laying off that pitch.
Yeah, he's got to get it a little closer to the plate. And I think that's sometimes where, you know, I used to fall in that trap sometimes too, where everything was away, and some of those pitches would be pretty close, but you know, the hitters wouldn't offer at him. Every once in a while, that's why you just got to buzz a guy inside to change his sights a little bit. So now when you go back out there, they're not so sure that that pitch is a little bit off the plate, and they're not going to swing at it.
Line drive, left field, line foul off the bat of Bird. Now the count 2-2.
Got Marlon to chase a high fastball earlier. See if he tries again.
See that left pant leg with the blood as Wood goes to work. Bird fouls it back again. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Just missed down and in. He and Laird wanted that pitch.
It looked like Alex was about to bolt for the dugout. Upstroke says a little inside though.
Well, he's had success with his changeup. See if he comes back with it.
Fastball. As the runners moved on a full count, they'll do the same. As Wood approaching 70 pitches. 2 2/3 innings.
I think that's a good call too, Tom, especially now after throwing a 3-2 fastball. But with Chris Johnson playing near the line, I'd want Hamilton to move to his right a step also if he knew it was coming.
Bouncing ball. Johnson's there. Fires to first and late. Play at the plate. Safe. Johnson thought about second, made the throw to first, and Murphy never stopped running and beat the relay of Freddie Freeman to score the game's first run.
The indecision of Chris Johnson cost him. It was a tough play, number one, because it's another one of those in-between hops. But by looking there and then going all the way across the diamond, he was too late to get Bird. Freddie made a good throw, but not in time to get Murphy.
That's where missing with that 2-2 pitch hurt, because you gave the runners a chance to get going.
So Matt Harvey leads 1-0 on a fielder's choice. What have we said? Put the ball in play, crazy things happen. And it did for New York. Now Lucas Duda, who walked his first time up. In for a called strike.
I'm sure somewhere in the rule book there's precedence for this and allows it, but I don't know how you can't give the guy a base hit.
I was wondering the same thing.
One ball, 2 strikes. Strike 3 right down the middle. A hit, a walk, and a fielder's choice plates a 2-out run for the Mets. They enjoy a 1-0 lead with Dan Uggla set to start the Braves' third. Cost Chris Johnson and the Braves as Danny Murphy scores from second on a ground ball to third. And will this be the end of the line for Alex Wood?
Looks like it. Freddie Gonzalez had told him he was going to hit for him. Gave the sign with his hands together like we're going to use a pinch hitter. And to Alex's credit, he tried to talk him out of it, but I don't think he was successful. Back to that play, though, on that in-between hop for Chris. I mean, one of the things that you've got to know on that play is that it's 2 outs, 3 and 2, and the runners are going. So you got to know that your play on a tough one like that is at first. Well, maybe he was successful.
Or you let him hit here.
Let him bunt.
Or relief pitcher. Depends on how the inning unfolds. Beginning with Dan Ugla, the Braves' second baseman.
Leadoff walk would be nice.
Three balls and a strike. 6 up, 6 down for Harvey. He has struck out 3. To get him in the stretch. And now a full count. 5-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio works, doesn't it?
Pretty darn good, yes.
That's what Harvey featured coming in. More than a strikeout per inning pitched. And he just walked the leadoff man to start the Braves' 3rd inning. Only his 21st walk in 99 innings this year.
He had a game kind of Tim Hudson-like his last time out against the Cardinals. He went 7 innings, gave up 5 hits and 1 run. He only walked 1, struck out 7, and got beat 2-1 by St. Louis.
That is a familiar refrain for this man. He has 8 games this year of 7 or more innings, less than equal to 1 run allowed. That's second in all of baseball. Felix Hernandez of the Mariners deals with woeful run support seemingly every year. Both with 8 of those starts. Clayton Kershaw has 9 of them.
Well, he hasn't won, oddly enough, he hasn't won since May 17th, a month ago. Since then, 4 no decisions and a loss.
Popped up. David Wright in foul ground. And that's the first out. Ugla at first for Alex Wood.
Hendrickson's in a bit of a dry spell. He's won for his last 17, and he's been swinging wildly at some pitches that aren't in the zone, including 2 high fastballs there from Harvey that he couldn't catch up to.
Well, this should be an interesting matchup. I'm sure Alex hadn't hit a whole lot. And then he's going to go out here and bunt and try and bunt up with this stuff.
No balls, 1 strike.
Another left-handed thrower, right-handed hitter.
John Buck might suggest, hey, stop bunting the ball off of me. 0-2.
John Buck wanting the ball boy to go out for a pass.
They gave the touchdown sign.
Nothing in 2. And Alex couldn't get the bat back in time, and he strikes out. And Ugla's at first, 2 away for Jordan Schaefer. Hope you'll spend your July 4th week with us at Turner Field this year. The Braves will take on the Marlins beginning Tuesday, July 2nd through the 3rd and 4th. And enjoy post-game fireworks shows on both days, July 3 and 4. Go to Braves.com/tickets or call 800-745-3000. Marlins have themselves a flamethrower too, that kid Jose Fernandez. We haven't seen him yet. He has electric stuff. Braves with this commanding lead in the East
have played the Marlins, I believe, just 3 times this year.
Right.
And have them 16 more times. Marlins at 22-47 for the year.
Never like that with so many games in your own division now. When they get backlogged to one half of the season versus the other, you get to a point where it's like, we're playing these guys again?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Look where Lagares and Cowgill are playing Jordan Schaefer. Look how shallow Lagares is in center. That's like where guys normally play when you got the winning run at third base in the 9th inning.
Well, that's a dangerous play. If Schaefer pulls one with the wind blowing out to a right center, he'll run forever.
I don't get this. I don't know about this scouting report because Jordan's got some pop.
Yeah, it's like if he's going to hit it in the left center field area, they don't think he's going to hit it very hard. But apparently they think if he does hit it to left field straight away, he's going to hit it hard because the left fielder's playing a lot deeper than the center fielder. A lot of times you'd see it with that kind of shift, the left fielder way in trying to take away the blue.
But you got to hit it first.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, this is not Juan Pierre up there. This is the way teams who play him, or like teams used to play Terry Collins, the manager of the Mets, when he played. But not Jordan Schaefer.
So Ugla will take off from first. Line foul into the club level. We'll do it again. Now Terry's not going to take exception to that, is he?
No, actually, teams did play him that way, and he was burning them all the time. He was hitting balls over their head left and right because teams didn't respect the fact that he had some power.
It's good recovery, Joe. Very good recovery.
Thanks.
Inside, ball 4. Schaefer coaxes a walk. Bookend bases on balls in the 3rd inning. And now Reed Johnson hits. Well, playing time has been tough to come by for Reed this month. Only his 10th plate appearance in June. And he comes here with a chance for the Braves with 2 outs to tie the game.
Guy in his role, you've got to be ready whenever. Whether it's pinch hitting, which he's ready for every night, or a spot start. Unfortunately for a guy like Reed, it usually is a day like today where you get to bed at 2:30 and you're playing tomorrow afternoon, by the way, so sleep fast.
And against the other team's ace. No balls and a strike. And Buck took another foul tip. It's quickly 0-2.
Come to think of it, the only time I ever faced Tom Seaver was because one of my outfield teammates with the Dodgers, who shall remain nameless, had a stomachache that day.
Ah.
Seaveritis?
Mm-hmm.
All 2 strikes.
Nothing else. They run his pitch count up this inning. He's had to work harder thanks to the walks.
One of his 46 have come in this 3rd. And a swing and a miss retires the side. That's 5 strikeouts for Harvey. The Braves threaten but fail to break through. We head to the 4th inning. New York has a 1-0 lead.
Expected Alex Wood pinch hit for himself, if that makes any sense to you. The Braves didn't want to use a bench player in that spot, knowing they were going to take him out of the ball game. So Corey Rasmus answers the AT&T call to the bullpen, and again is the 26th man on the roster for today's double dip.
So he'll be eligible to pitch both games of the doubleheader today, but would have to go back to Gwinnett tomorrow. Those are his numbers for Gwinnett. He has been up earlier with the Braves. He was called up May 18th when Eric O'Flaherty went on the disabled list. His last outing was against Toronto, and his brother, you might recall, went 2 innings, gave up 3 hits, including a double to his brother, who plated a run or 2 with that swing. And Corey said it's the first time he's gone to left field all year.
And he might be right about that. So let's see if he can gobble up some innings and shut down the Mets, who lead 1-0 after their 3rd inning run. Lagares and Quintanilla coming up for New York.
This is exactly the scenario that Freddie Gonzalez laid out yesterday when I asked him why is Wood pitching the first game instead of Mahalan. He said if the pitcher in game 1 gets knocked out early or has an injury and only pitches an inning plus or 2 innings, and we've got to use the bullpen a lot, at least I'll have a veteran who will go in the second game that I know I can stretch out.
High fly ball hammered to left by Buck. And Rasmus having early trouble keeping the ball in the ballpark as a big league pitcher. His 12th home run, and the Mets lead 2-0.
To finish that, though, at least I've got a guy like Mahalan that I know I could stretch out to 120, 125 pitches if I needed to save the bullpen some.
Yeah, you know what your limitations are with Mahalan as we take a look at the pitch there. Maybe a hanging something, slider or fastball.
Now Lagares a bunt, and that's going to stay fair. So back-to-back hits greet Rasmus in the Mets' 4th.
Yeah, you know where you can push Mahalan. You don't necessarily know where you could push Alex Wood had he been starting game 2. But then that also makes it even more important what Huddy was able to do last night and the outing he gave them and not having to burn the bullpen last night.
Well, the Mets sure would love it if Buck got as hot in June and July as he was in April. It was a very pleasant surprise for the Mets.
Well, he's just sent that ball on a post pattern.
Rasmus, who's pitched 3 2/3 plus innings in the big leagues, now allowed 4 homers. And Freeman can't handle the pickoff throw from Rasmus, and Lagares in at second base.
It's probably an E3.
We wait for the official score. It is a Freeman error, and that's 6 on Freeman at first base. to first. And Freeman handles this one. Good at bat by Quintanilla. Runner at third. And one out. Hop on the bus, Braves fans, and travel to the game in style. The Fox Sports South Fan Express is a custom luxury coach specially created for group travel to and from Turner Field. So if your group wants the VIP travel treatment, log on to foxsportsouth.com for more information. Here's Harvey. Infield in. And Q shot foul. Strike one. Think about a squeeze here, fellas?
Definitely think about it.
Be a good call. Every run you put on the board for Harvey makes him that much tougher.
But if they try to bunt it, Harvey will have to get one down with an 0-2 count now.
Some good swings at Corey.
He went around, and a high fastball retires Harvey. 2 outs.
As a leadoff hitter, when such an occurrence happens, you like to give your pitcher a chance to get back in the dugout and sit down, maybe take a pitch, but not here. Not when you've got a chance to drive in a run. We'll see if Cowgill is thinking of his pitcher or thinking about trying to drive that run in.
Infield backs up with 2 outs now. And Cowgill takes a ball. 1-0 the count.
He was taken all the way.
Cowgill's a Southern boy, born and lives in Lexington, Kentucky. He helped Kentucky go to its first ever Southeastern Conference championship. Won 44 games his sophomore season back in 2006. He had 26 homers that year. Missed all of 07 with a hand injury, then had an All-American season in 2008. That's when Arizona selected him in the 5th round of the draft. He was then part of a big deal that sent Craig Breslow, Trevor Cahill, and Cash to the Diamondbacks for Ryan Cook, Jared Parker, and Cowgill. Then the Mets got him in a minor league trade. Trade for a minor leaguer in December of last year. Full count pitch coming to Colin Cowgill. Little pop to the right side, and Freddie Freeman is there to make the play. The Mets had a run on a John Buck solo home run. They lead 2-0, and here's the Delta trio coming up in the Braves' 4th.
inning.
Alex Wood's outing, looks like he got shortened by a blister on his finger. This ground ball could have gotten him out of the inning, but a hesitation by Chris Johnson allowed Bird to reach, and then the relay to the plate, not in time to get Murphy. Murphy never stopped running. He was running on a 3-2 count and slid in just ahead of the tag. And the John Buck homer made it 2-0.
So the Braves will have to make a little comeback action work for him in game 1 of the doubleheader today. 2-0 for Hayward, Freeman, and Chris Johnson.
That's the curveball he likes to throw to left-handers. It's not a real slow, loopy curve, but just a get over early in the count, get a strike.
And 3 pitches ends the at-bat for Hayward, who struck out for the second time. And 6 in the game for the Braves offense. 1 away, Freddie Freeman, the batter. Let's take a look at our AT&T Uverse trivia question. Name the last Met to start an All-Star game. Now, I was really hoping that today, no sleep, late night last night, 2 big games today, that we'd get something like, name the last Met to throw a no-hitter. For the trivia question.
Yeah, I'd like that.
Instead, we get name the last Met to start an All-Star game. Such an occurrence should never be allowed to happen, according to most fans of Braves country.
Name the last Brave to hit a walk-off homer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But no.
Some people get too much rest. Ooh. 98 right up under your hands. And he's got a 2-run lead. So he's feeling good.
And he threw it right where Buck wanted it. You said, Tommy, that looks easy, but it really isn't easy to execute.
No, it's not. It's, you know, I say this. For me, it was always a little bit easier trying to do it inside because, you know, you had a little bit more to look at. But up over the plate, it's tough to do. At least when you're going in on a hitter, you can kind of focus on that front elbow or his hands or something. But when you're trying to throw it over the plate and up, it's awful tough to focus on that mitt when it's about 3 feet higher than you're used to focusing on it.
Everything's down, down, down for you guys.
99 on that one. This guy's not a closer. He's doing this inning after inning.
You can see why he gives Mets fans such great hope. And a little more of their present and future will pitch tonight, and that's Zach Wheeler, the Georgia native, who was actually asked in his press conference here the other day, are you going to be the savior of this season for the Mets? Well, obviously the kid said no.
I guess at this stage of the game, what are you defining as savior? It's an awful lot to put on anybody, especially a young kid, but I don't think any one player is going to be the savior for the Mets at this stage of the game.
They've been down this road before. Remember, just a few short years ago, the trio of Wilson, Pulsifer, and Isringhausen. That was supposed to be the next big 3 in New York. Well, all 3 of those guys went on to have some success at the major league level in various degrees. They never fashioned the brilliance that was forecast for them in New York. Matt Harvey, however, just struck out the side. He's having a brilliant day today and leads 2-0 and has allowed no hits.
part by AT&T Uverse, by Delta Airlines, and by Ford. It's 2-0 after 4 innings. The story of the day is Matt Harvey. No hits, 8 strikeouts through 4 innings of work, and his Mets offense with single runs in the 3rd and 4th has the lead over Alex Wood and Corey Rasmus. Rasmus took over last inning.
He struck out 4 in a row in 5 of the last 6 Braves.
So here's Daniel Murphy. Murphy in the 3rd inning with 2 outs, singled, was balked to second. David Wright walked, and then Marlon Byrd came up and hit a chopper to 3rd base. Chris Johnson hesitated, thought about going to second, threw to first. Byrd beat the play, and Murphy was waved around 3rd base, never stopped running on the 3-2 count, and scored ahead of Freddie Freeman's relay throw to Gerald Laird for the first New York run. And they did, by the way, Joe, change that scoring as you and Tom were suggesting. Bird's ground ball.
Yeah, there was no error, and the only choice he made was to go to first and didn't get him.
And Murphy serves one into shallow center field on a 1-2 count. Leadoff hit for the Mets second baseman. 5th of the day for New York. Fans, you can vote up to 25 times for your favorite Braves players and send them to the 2013 All-Star Game. And when you vote 21 times or more, you'll get a special offer of $10 outfield pavilion tickets from the Braves. Go to braves.com/vote today for details. Slow roller toward 3rd. Johnson's got it. There's 1, and there's 2. David Wright's doubled up. 2 for the price of 1. Base is empty for Marlon Byrd.
That was an excellent turn by Dan Uggla. Slow roller hit to Chris. It wasn't quick to get to him. And Dan just bounced that to first. I mean, just rebounded it over there. Good play.
Did a nice job of using the base as a shield from the oncoming base runner there.
Getting on the backside so the runner couldn't get to him.
So the 3rd double play wrapped into by David Wright this year. And now Marlon Byrd, the batter. 33 RBIs for Mr. Byrd. 1 ball, no strikes. This is game 1 of our day-night doubleheader. One of 5 makeup games the Mets already have on their schedule. They have games to make up June 27th, July 26th, August 19th, and again September 14th. And then after this one wraps up, Braves will clear the house, the field ready for play, and a new gathering will join us for a 7:10 first pitch later on tonight. Hopefully the weather will cooperate. So far so good, except for the score, which is 2-0 Mets. Did he go around? Yes, he did. Byrd chased a collarbone high pitch and is struck out by Rasmus. Braves look for their first hit as we head to the bottom of the 5th. 2-0 your score.
Bixby's indescribably good play, and that has to do with Matt Harvey. 59 pitches through his 4 innings of work. He did walk a couple of guys. They both came in the 3rd inning, but he has struck out 8, and he's done it with a variety of pitches, but all of it working off his 98, 99, and even one 100-mile-an-hour fastball. Had a good slider and a changeup to go with it. He's been outstanding. Up and under the hands of Freddie Freeman. One of the things that he also leads the National League in is swings and misses. Opponents swing and miss it right at 27% of his pitches. That's 3rd best in the National League. Over a quarter of his pitches are swung on and missed.
Well, here's the man that maybe had the best swing with contact against Harvey, and that's Gerald Laird. He hit a deep line drive into the Mets bullpen foul in the 2nd inning before he struck out swinging. Tom?
Well, it's not just his stuff, but also his mental makeup, guys. It was suggested by at least one member of the Mets traveling party that Matt Harvey doesn't want to be upstaged by Zach Wheeler making his major league debut tonight. Wheeler was asked yesterday, Chip, as you mentioned, if he would be the savior of this Mets franchise. Matt Harvey, in his mind, says, I'm already here, and I'm going to dominate today. So don't pay as much attention to Wheeler tonight.
Well, to follow that up, Tom, one of the things that Terry Collins said, his manager, the other day, which cracked me up, they said, well, do you think Zach Wheeler can follow in the footsteps of Matt Harvey? And he goes, what, and date a supermodel?
Rolled foul by Laird. Well, when you think of young power pitchers in our division, obviously the man that got all the hype a couple of years ago, deservedly so, was Steven Strasburg of the Nationals. In fact, if you go back the last 97 years in the game, there are only 2 guys in baseball who've allowed 2 runs or less in 18 of their first 24 career starts. Steven Strasburg and Matt Harvey. This is only our 2nd look at Harvey. We've seen Strasburg an awful lot more. Compare and contrast you two. What do you think?
Well, I mean, you know, it's probably a little bit unfair for me because I've only seen Strasburg pitch here, and neither of them or none of them have been very good. So I'm probably a little bit jaded in terms of what I've seen from him. But look, they both got electric stuff. I will say, from what I've seen out of Harvey today, for a guy who throws 98, 99, man, he's not afraid to throw his breaking stuff behind the counter, and he can throw it for strikes.
And that he is. Another catcher with an impossible name to pronounce. No balls, 2 strikes. And that's over the outside corner. Lagares is caught looking. 3rd strikeout for Rasmus. The Braves go back to work, down 2-0. We're in the 6th in Atlanta.
Ram Truck's power stats. And this stat today. The Braves against the National League East teams this season, they're 16-6 against their own division. Big run differential, which is nice to see, and excellent pitching. So out hitting, out pitching, out homering, all a good, all summarized into good record. A 7.5 game lead. While Harvey continues to warm up, guys, I want to show you a couple of lines from 2 starts he made this year, and they were made back to back. And what I want you to see, and maybe you guys can add to this, April 29th at Miami, he did not have his best stuff. 5 1/3 innings. He threw 121 pitches that day, but he only gave up 1 run. Okay. And he got a no decision, kept his team in it. His very next start against the White Sox, 9 innings of 1-hit shutout baseball, got another no decision because he got no run support, no walks, 12 strikeouts. Those were back-to-back starts, and I guess tells you a little bit about how he can pitch with his good stuff or sometimes without.
Well, that's what you need your starting pitchers to do, especially if they're going to be aces of your staff. I've said it all the time. You're going to go out there 1 out of every 5 and everything's going to be working. The other 4, there's a little something missing, and some days there's a lot missing. You still got to figure out how to compete.
Interesting managerial decision for Freddie Gonzalez with the pitcher's spot due. Had 3 more innings left and a nightcap doubleheader. He elects to go to his bench, and it's Tyler Pasternicki. David right, an off-balance play, and Duda held the bag at first for out number 1.
His choice was to let Rasmus hit for himself and stay in the game and save the bullpen.
Well, the other side too is this, this very similar game to last night, really, where the Braves are a bloop and a blast from being back in this game. Although right now you don't feel like they are, but you could be in a situation right here where you go 1 inning apiece with guys in the bullpen, and they still should be in good shape for the nightcap. But I guess you play the percentages. You get that leadoff hit, and you never know.
And for Harvey, with all the strikeouts, logically his pitch count's going to be driven up, and here he is in the 6th inning with 1 out at 81.
Well, that's potentially the downside of that stat you showed earlier about the swing and miss ratio. It's going to be tough when you're getting that many swings and misses to be efficient. I'm not saying that he's not efficient, but it's going to be tough for him to pitch those 8-9 innings consistently, because his pitch count is going to creep up because he gets so many swings and misses and strikeouts.
He's been over 100 pitches every start except for 4, including the last 2.
The 3rd inning was his highest pitch count. It's the only time he's been in the stretch. He walked 2 hitters in that inning.
Love to see Jordan hit one in that right center field gap and take off like a jet. Again, look how shallow Lagares is playing.
Did he go around? Yes, he did. Schaefer on a check swing is strikeout number 11 for Harvey. 2 outs. Delta Airlines, proud sponsor of the Atlanta Braves. Reed Johnson, the hitter. Johnson has popped out and struck out. Nothing in 2.
That was a case where Reed tried to start his swing a little bit early on a 95 fastball. He was trying to adjust his timing to get his hand started a little quicker, and actually pulled it foul. Went out around it. Fastball's coming back to him a little bit too. But you've got to shorten everything up. Stride, swing,
and hope. A no-hitter through 6 for Harvey with 12 strikeouts. He is humming merrily along. 2-0 Mets in game 1. By the Georgia Lottery, by the Home Depot, and by Toyota. Matt Harvey, the story today, 12 strikeouts and no hits allowed through 6 innings. The Mets president is awfully good. They're hoping their future will be as well, as a big part of that takes the ball for them in game 2 tonight. And here are your Chevron upcoming starters.
Zach Wheeler was taken in the draft, 1 pick ahead of the Braves taking Mike Minor. Atlanta had their eyes on Zach Wheeler, but the Giants took him right in front of them and then traded him to the Mets for Carlos Beltran a couple of years ago. Paul Mahalan will go for his 8th win. You know Wheeler will have a lot of family and friends here as he makes his major league debut.
Well, as good as Matt Harvey has been and is, if they're asking Wheeler if he's the savior, I'm looking forward to watching that.
All right.
Yeah, he was the 6th pick overall, as Joe said. He was taken before Shelby Miller, Mike Minor, and Tyler Skaggs. The 09 draft. Corey Guerin, the 3rd pitcher of the day for the Braves. He's got the 8, 9, and 1 hitters up for the Mets. And he's greeted with a base hit the other way by Quintanilla. That snaps an 0 for 22. Leadoff man on for New York. Harvey will try to bunt. And a nice stop by Laird way outside. 1 ball, no strikes.
Corey's had a couple of bad outings back to back. They were on the road trip. He did not pitch in the Giants series, but at LA, a 1/3 of an inning, 3 hits and 4 runs and a walk, a grand slam to Puig. And then San Diego, 2 innings, 2 hits and 2 runs.
Freeman fires to second. The return to first in time. How about that double play? 3-6-4, and Freddie Freeman with a point to Gerald Laird. Maybe Laird was screaming, go for 2.
Well, he had the play right in front of him because he could see that Harvey was late coming out of the box. So why not take a chance at second base? He had plenty of time to get Harvey.
So Cowgill bats. He's 0 for 3.
Almost kind of wish he was safe at first. Let him run the bases a
Yeah.
little bit. Maybe that'll wear him out.
Make him wear a jacket. Cowgill at the plate, and the fans are mooing.
2 balls, no strikes. Taking all the way. All the other National League action is later on tonight. Keep an eye on the Nationals and Phillies. That one starts at 7:05. Good matchup. Ross Detweiler and Cliff Lee at Citizens Bank Park. And Cowgill aboard with a 2-out walk.
Fans, come see former Braves greats at a Braves Alumni Weekend, June 28th through the 30th. See Javi Lopez, Tom Glavine, John Smoltz, and others as they conduct autograph signings pregame and play on the alumni softball game Saturday. Get tickets at braves.com/tickets or call 1-800-745-3000.
You got your liniment ordered, Ty?
What?
Liniment.
Who's that?
Analgesic pain rub after the softball game.
I can't play in that softball game. I got to broadcast that night. I can't risk getting hurt.
If you don't want to play, we could always call John Sullivan. He might be available.
That's right. No balls and a strike. Yeah, that was one of the more interesting moments last year. We had the softball game and a coach, John Sullivan. There was an actual coach, John Sullivan, back in the 80s here. But he was on the field. So, yeah, I'm John Sullivan. Nobody knew who he was. But nobody wanted to be the bad guy and say, you're not that guy.
Or
Who are
he
you?
looks
Yeah.
different.
Yeah, he's changed a lot.
I saw some guys trying to, he wanted to play catch. I don't think this guy could throw the ball 7 feet to play catch.
Well, Tom, do you have your ID and your liniment ready?
I do.
Okay.
We'd like for you to play just so we can laugh. You know, so you take a hack or two and put it on tape. And
Well, my days of providing laughter are over.
Don't be too sure. 2 balls and a strike. A couple of hits for Murphy today. And this one's driven down the right field line, but it's hooking into the tunnel. 2 balls, 2 strikes. These are instructive at bats for Corey Guerin. How does he approach tough left-handed hitters?
go to the big hook right here. That'd help.
Bounced up the middle. Simmons to his left. And makes the peg to first. And on a close play, Murphy and the Mets are done in the 7th. 7th inning stretch time. Let's get some runs. Hayward, Freeman, and Johnson up looking for the first Braves hit. Who was the last Met to throw a no-hitter? I didn't mean Matt Harvey today.
Right. He's got a shot, though.
But here was the last official no-hitter, and it's a little more than a year ago for Johan Santana.
That ball was called foul, which saved a no-hitter. Mike Baxter suffered a broken collarbone with that great catch, but 134 pitches, Gretchen? 134 to get the first no-hitter in Mets history.
That's astounding when you think of all the great pitchers. Tommy, you lived it in New York. That didn't happen.
Yeah, it's really remarkable with all the big arms they've had there over the years that took all that time for the first one.
So Jason Hayward starts off the 7th inning for the Braves. He struck out swinging twice. In the first inning, Harvey touched 100. And he's still throwing in the mid-90s on his 89th pitch of the day.
And this is the third time through the order, and if nothing else, you got to try and make him get that fastball down and think waist down, because anything above the belt, it's almost impossible to catch up to today.
But during break, you guys made a great point. There's no out pitch to eliminate for this guy today.
Well, he's got too many out pitches. And he's at 1 and 2 again on this hitter.
Bounced off the plate. Harvey fields. Nobody's at the bag, and Hayward's in safely. There's the bloop. Maybe the blast will follow. Leadoff man on in the 7th.
I thought he was going to try to tag him.
Yeah, I did too. And that's, I think that's where you gotta realize that your first baseman's coming and get that ball as well. And I don't know who he thought was going to be there. Maybe he just thought he was going to tag him and then thought, well, I'm not going to get him, so let me throw it and hope somebody's there.
Hey, that's a start.
Freddie Freeman, a 6-game hit streak, has killed the Mets this year. Broke their hearts in the 9th last night. One swing could tie it here in the 7th. Harvey has been in the stretch for 1 inning. That's it. That was the 3rd. He hasn't been there since. Good cut by Freddie. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Those numbers kind of in keeping with all of his other numbers. His recent work, hitting with runners in scoring position. Good take.
There's that pitch down you were talking about a moment ago.
Yeah, remember he struck out Freddie with a high heater last time up. It's just ridiculous to try to catch up to, right where Buck wanted it. But as long as you're ahead in the count, think down where you can just drop the barrel on something. Like the slider, I think.
As hard as he throws and as late of swings as you'll see.
Maybe not. I don't know what that was.
Two-seamer.
Yeah. You surprised that Wright's as far off the line as he is at third base here? I know there's 2 strikes, but Freddie can go line to line.
Yeah, I like this for Freddie's sake.
Around the plate. And the count full. Advantage along with Freddie Gonzalez. Do you dare run with Hayward?
I don't think so.
I don't either.
He's got a big lead at first. 3-2. He's going. And a cue shot foul.
You're putting a lot of stock in Freddie right here. Obviously, and Freddie doesn't strike out that much, certainly not by comparison to some of his teammates. He's good at hitting the ball where it's pitched in any count, even 3-2. So that's the Braves have that going for him if Jason runs again. But Harvey's quick to the plate, and Buck's thrown out 43% of Steelers.
Hayward didn't run on that pitch.
I think normally with Freddie at the plate in this situation, I would all day long. With this guy on the mound, I'm not so sure I would. But if you're going to do it with anybody in the lineup, Freddie's the guy you're going to do it with.
And maybe by running the first time, it got Freddie a fastball where Buck says, you know, I want to strike him out, throw him out. Maybe get another fastball here.
He's running. Swing and a miss. The throw to second is in plenty of time. It is the strike him out, throw him out. And that's the risk versus reward you take. 13 strikeouts for Harvey and 2 are away.
And it looked like something down, didn't it?
It was down.
Yeah, he just couldn't catch up.
Strike him out, throw him out, double play goes 6.
Jason almost got his hand in there ahead of the tag.
So pitch number 100 coming from Harvey. And Johnson fouls it back. It's a strike.
Chris was vehemently upset with himself for striking out to end the 4th inning on a breaking ball or something off speed. I'm not sure exactly what the pitch was, but really aggravated in himself. So he's into this one.
Well, maybe this would be a blessing in disguise. Now with the no-hitter gone, maybe they'll be more apt to take him out of the game and get into that bullpen.
He is raring back and humming. That was at 99.
That was the max effort right there.
He was spinning a little bit on that front foot that time. Troy Hawkins gets up in their pen.
To short. Quintanilla gloves, fires 360 and makes a beautiful play.
Beautiful.
The Braves do break up the no-hit bid. Jason Hayward with an infield single. But strikeout number 13 and a beautiful play up the middle ends the 7th. And the Mets still lead by a pair.
In the run column as we go to the top of the 8th inning. Time for our SunTrust shining moment. And tonight, this afternoon, the shining moment was Alex Wood making his first major league start. And he did give up a run, but he looked sharp. And he walked 3 guys, and I say that knowing he walked 3, but he struck out 5 too. You're seeing some of them here. And would have pitched deeper into the ball game if it weren't for what appeared to be a blister on either his index or middle finger that shortened his outing. Had a chat with his manager as he was taken out of the game. Looked like he was lobbying to stay in. But 3 innings, 2 hits, 1 run. Struck out 5. Something to build on for the next time.
Absolutely.
And we've not gotten word that it was officially a blister, but we saw the blood on the uniform pants of Alex.
Chewing something off his finger on the back of the mound, too.
And so that raises an interesting question. If he's not going to be in your rotation, and he's got a blister. Probably can't pitch in your bullpen for a couple days. What roster move will the Braves make after today's doubleheader?
Well, I mean,
I know that's putting the cart way before the horse.
Obviously. I mean, he's going to have a couple days where he's not going to pitch anyway because of the amount of pitches that he threw today, and he hasn't done that in a while. So maybe that, that's the kind of thing they wait and see for a couple days and see how his finger is 2-3 days from now.
So David Carpenter is on for the top of the 8th. Wood started. Rasmus pitched 3 innings with a run. Guerin an inning of 1 hit ball, and now Carpenter facing Wright, Bird, and Duda.
But regardless, you bring up a good point. The Braves essentially are going to be a man short in that bullpen now because Alex not going to be able to pitch for a couple of days at a minimum, I would think.
And the man you called up did what he was asked to do. He gave the Braves 3 innings. Corey Rasmus, wouldn't expect him to be available in game 2 either.
So you're really 2 guys down if you think of it. So we'll see what moves, if any, the Braves make. They have to get down to 25 men before game 4 of the series, I should say, here tomorrow. You guys like the 26-man rule for doubleheaders?
I do. I think it's a good idea.
I do too.
The Mets also added a pitcher, Scott Atchison, for today's affair against the Braves.
They brought him off the disabled list.
And strike 3 to David Wright as Carpenter continues his good run out of the pen, and David with an argument for Eric Cooper. Right over 3 today. And back to our AT&T Uverse trivia question. Name the last Mets pitcher to start the All-Star game.
I'm going to say Ron Darling.
I'm going to go with Gooden.
Oh, good one.
That is a good one. I'm going to say it's never happened.
There we go.
Good for something once in a while.
Yeah, I filled in a blank last night too.
It's weird too. We were out in Los Angeles, Tommy, and they had the old timers game with the Dodgers greats. They were all there. It was really, really well done. But Dwight Gooden was there with the Yankees. Rematch of the Yankees and Dodgers. Well, they've got a rematch starting tonight, I believe, in interleague play. The Dodgers are back in the Bronx for the first time since their last World Series matchup.
No kidding.
Cool. That's good. That's a cool matchup.
Don Mattingly, the Dodgers skipper, is managing against the Yankees.
I don't know if you guys knew this or not about David Carpenter, but he gave up a run, I think actually multiple runs in his first outing. Has not allowed a run since. 10 straight scoreless outings, including last night against the Mets.
So hey, cue the Jefferson's music. He's moving on up in importance in that Braves bullpen.
Yes, he is. 14 2/3 innings, 13 strikeouts. Actually 14 now, so a strikeout virtually per inning pitched. Just a 204 batting average against him.
Bird might have broken his bat, but that bat will go down a hero as he'll scamper into second base with a 1-out double. 7th New York hit. All season long, Braves baseball on Sports South is being presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. The right stuff, the low price every day. Game 2 to follow tonight. It is a day-night doubleheader. Braves live, I believe, on at 6:30. We'll join you with first pitch at the top of the 7 o'clock hour. Mahalam and Wheeler. Braves won't pitch to Lucas Duda. They'll walk him for the second time today. John Buck, the catcher, represents a tantalizing double play target. Elsewhere in the National League, the Cubs are in St. Louis tonight. There's another good matchup. Jeff Samardzija and Adam Wainwright. They look up at Busch Stadium. Former Brave Randall Delgado gets the ball for Arizona. They face off with the Marlins and Nate Eovaldi, who's back from the disabled list. And San Diego and San Francisco. Cashner versus Kane. How about the Padres? San Diego, I think, has passed San Francisco out west. They're over 500.
Well, they haven't lost since we saw them. They swept the Braves, swept the Diamondbacks, and won last night.
I thought that was interesting. I think I heard you guys say that during that series, at some point with the Braves, they'd only scored 7 less runs than Atlanta. Was that right at that point in time?
That was
roughly.
The Padres?
It was the Giants, wasn't it?
Was it the Giants or the Padres? I thought it was during the Padres series.
Well, let me go back in the old
Go back and look
here. Yeah, it was the Giants. Padres, though, weren't far behind.
Even still with the Giants, though, I mean, it's hard to believe that either of those teams are in the vicinity of the Braves in terms of runs scored.
Well, at the start of that series, the Padres had scored 14 fewer runs than the Braves.
There you go.
That's surprising.
Yeah, it is.
But it hit roughly 26, 27 fewer homers.
Buddy Black continues to do a really good job in San Diego with whatever he's given.
Not surprisingly, Joe, it was their pitching that really got them on this streak. Cashner pitched a great game. Jason Marquis was 8-2 after he beat the Braves in the opening game of that series. And then Edinson Volquez, who'd had a couple of real bad ones, a couple of good ones, and a couple more bad ones. Had a good one for Atlanta. And Carpenter just made a bad pitch on an 0-2 count. He hits Buck to load the bases.
I wonder if Gerald Laird is complaining that he didn't make any effort to get out of the way.
Freddie Gonzalez might want an explanation too.
Or if it was a foul ball.
Or did he swing?
He didn't swing. Looked like it hit him in the forearm.
That looks like hand or forearm.
So Juan Lagares is scheduled to hit, but it looks like he'll be taken down for Mr. Pinch Hit home run, Jordany Valdespin. Six career pinch hit homers. He has 7 hits in his last 43 at bats, and his last pinch hit homer came May 1st in Miami.
This situation for Freddie and the Braves is a little bit of a product of having another game play this afternoon. A lot of times you see double barrel action in that bullpen out there right now, and you probably bring the lefty in to face this guy. But with another game looming, I'm more worried about innings, I think, right now.
Way outside, ball 2. Valdespin second in Mets history for pinch hit home runs. The team record for the Mets franchise is 8. And Mark Carrion, remember him?
I do indeed.
He's the pinch hit homer record holder for New York.
And I would have guessed Rusty Staub.
Valdespin, a good cut. 2 balls and a strike. The 5 Met fans in the ballpark making an awful lot of noise. 2 balls and a strike. for a strike, and Braves will be down another run. Now to spin, a bases loaded walk. The Braves had the right strategy. They walked Duda, who's one of the hotter Mets hitters, to get to Buck to set up a double play, but no one counted on a hit by pitch on an 0-2 count. And then Carpenter, with the bases loaded free pass, brings home Marlon Bird to make it 3-0 Mets.
And just when I said he hadn't given up a run since his first outing, must have jinxed him. "21 pitches." Needs a quick double play here so that they could conceivably leave him in to pitch the ninth.
Omar Quintanilla with a 7th inning base hit. He had been an 0 for 22 slide. Strike.
Obviously want this guy to put the ball in play. Snapping out of an 0 for 22. Give your defense a chance to get you out of the inning.
Comebacker right here. 1, 2, 3.
Fly ball toward left. Long run, Reed Johnson. He cuts it off, makes the catch. A tagging from third will be Duda. He scores the 4th run, and it's a 4-0 game. 5th RBI for Quintanilla. And Harvey's going to stay in the game, it appears. Bottom part of the Braves order coming up in the 8th with 13 strikeouts and a 1-hitter. Now a 4-0 lead. Boy, this has to feel like a 10-0 advantage for him. See, he does not get much run support.
With the exception of the fact that they have 3 more runs than they had last night, it's almost a carbon copy of what happened last night, though, and Dylan G being so dominant until the bottom of the 9th.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Well, you get a couple guys on in the 8th and 9th. The lineup card would turn around to Freddie Freeman, so stay tuned for that. Now it's a 4-run game. Now a 1-run game, as we saw last night. Harvey may have cracked his bat. He did. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, if Harvey was trying to set the bar for Zach Wheeler, I'd say he's placed it in a very lofty place.
I'll say. So not much room for improvement. For the Braves' sake, let's hope there isn't any.
David struggling with his command in this 8th. With a 3-ball count. 2 walks, 1 intentional, and a hit batsman really hurt. And Harvey not going quietly. Runners were moving. Now they head back, still with a 3-2 count. Carpenter subdues the Mets, but not before they score twice in the 8th inning. Will Harvey continue? He has struck out 13 and leads by 4. Harvey today.
Absolutely. Both the walks came in the same inning, and that was the 3rd for Atlanta. The only other time he worked in the stretch was the 7th when he gave up that little swing and bunt base hit by Jason Hayward. Time now for the Coors Light Cold Freeze Cam. This is how they got their first run. 2 on, 2 out, full count, and a bit of a hesitation there by Chris Johnson. He looked to second, didn't have a play, and then by the time he went to first, Marlon Byrd is safe. Freddie tried to gun down Murphy at the plate, but was late. And that was the first run of the ball game. Freeze Cam brought to you by Frostbrewed Coors Light.
So what you're saying is he who hesitates is Frost. Trying the high fastball again, but Justin didn't offer. They will see the 4th Mets pitcher of the inning. They've needed 4 to get 3 outs, and they haven't gotten there yet. For now, they turn to Bobby Parnell with the bases loaded for Atlanta at a 4-3 game.
Tommy, I've always loved this guy because he's got a big arm, but he sure is, that just says it right there, so inconsistent.
Yeah, he, it seems to me, for as long as I can remember now, this is the guy they've wanted to be their closer. They've had him in situations where he was the setup guy and did extremely well, and then put him in the closer role, wasn't able to handle it, back to the setup role, now back in the closer role. It's just for whatever reason, he has not seemed to be able to harness what I think everybody thinks is just electric stuff when he gets into the closer role.
I think we're seeing something here, guys, that maybe telling us a lot about Ramiro Pena. This is a spot where we would always see Pena pinch hit and stay in the game to play third base. But with Ramiro's right shoulder bothering him from those dives in Los Angeles and continuing to bother him, it must be a little bit worse than what we think.
And the importance there is Pena can switch hit and is better from the left side.
Yep.
Now it's a righty-righty matchup with Chris Johnson in the box. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Chris 0 for 3. Parnell can get a little wild, so look alive at third, Justin Upton. And the first pitch rolled foul and into the seats. Strike one.
Chris Johnson 1 for 2 against him in his career. As you see right there. Those numbers for Parnell that we showed you a second ago, those recent numbers, not very good. His last 2 outings, though, have been good. 2 innings total, no runs or hits, and no strikeouts, which is odd. Good call, Chip. Almost.
Good stop by Buck. 1 ball, 1 strike.
That was an outstanding play. David Wright's deep behind the bag at third, so Justin can get a good walking lead, too, from third base.
John Buck's a little upset because he tried to throw the touchdown pass again and overthrew the ball boy.
Uh-oh.
Outside, 0-2. A walk scores a run. Neuenhuis shading Johnson toward right. Big gap in left center. Lots of room down the left field line, too.
Well, I don't want to state the obvious, but as a pitcher, this is the pitch you want to end it on right here. You want to make your pitch right here. You don't want to get to a 3-2 count. Give those guys the opportunity to get moving on the base paths, and you still right here can throw pretty much any pitch. You go to 3-2, I think your options are narrowed a little bit.
Line down the right field line, but slicing foul. It's still 2-2.
So you're seeing what we've been talking about with this Mets bullpen. Whether it's Harvey or a good outing from Hefner or someone else, you have to go to the bullpen. Depending on how many innings you've got to have out of the Mets bullpen, it is an adventure.
Another 2-2 pitch. Another fly ball down the right field line. Bird on the run in the corner, can't get there. Great hustle by Bird, but he came up short.
Good effort by the Sprayberry Yellow Jacket.
Upton, Hayward, Freeman on base. 3 are in the 8th. miss. And that will retire the side. Good inning for Atlanta. They score 3 times off Matt Harvey and the Mets bullpen. And to the 9th we go. It's a 4-3 New York advantage. Before a crowd of 21,857. Justin Upton remains in the game. He is in left field. And Jordan Walden's appearing in his 22nd game today.
These runs David Carpenter allowed in the 8th inning turned out to be big ones. And now it's up to Jordan Walden to hold them right there and hope the Braves can get a couple, or at least one to tie in the 9th. A couple to win. Great effort though there in the 8th inning by the Braves offense. Good at bats. Got Harvey out of the ball game. And some clutch hitting all around.
Schaefer with a 2 RBI hit. Jason Hayward with an RBI double. And Gerald Laird's able to stay in the game. He's back behind the dish. As Walden will go through the top of the Mets batting order. Cowgill, Murphy, and Wright. Jordan, as you know, spent some time on the disabled list nursing a sore shoulder. But he says his shoulder feels as good as it has in years, and he's blistering the fastball in the upper 90s. Bouncing ball to second. Cowgill is rounded up by Ugla. One away. Two more hits for Murphy. He scored the Mets' first run. Fly ball to left. Upton will handle his first chance. As we look ahead to the bottom of the 9th inning, Laird, Ugla, Simmons, and then the pitcher spot. I've got the Braves with B.J. Upton and Pena left.
And nobody in the Mets bullpen, so it looks like Parnell will go back out there.
Does he have a save of more than an inning for the Mets? I'll check on that for you. Here's Wright. David is 0 for 3 in game 1 today. Little tardy at 97, strike 1.
We've seen a little gas today.
Yes, we have.
10 Mets have been struck out. 14 Braves make it 15 Braves have been struck out. 13 of them by Harvey. Takes a called third strike. No argument from Wright this time as Walden works a perfect top of the 9th inning. Last chance for the Braves, down a run. 4-3 again to the Mets. In back-to-back games, the Braves have had some terrific comebacks already on this homestand.
This one off the Giants and Sergio Romo, who's been so good for the Giants this year. And last night, in the wee hours of the morning, off Dylan G, who had been in total command, a single by Justin Upton, and the homer by Freddie.
Technically, that was this morning.
Party on.
So Parnell does not have a save this year of greater than an inning. Much has been made of a emotional letdown, finishing off the 8th and having to come back out in the 9th. We'll see if that applies for Parnell. Gerald Laird starts the inning. He walked to begin the 8th inning rally. Didn't like the call. Strike 1. Game 2 follows at 6:30 with Braves Live. First pitch 7:10.
Good spoiler right there, 98 fastball. Hand me an M&M, Tom. I think I need a lucky M&M this evening.
Plain or peanut?
Plain. We're going for the gusto here.
Yeah, wouldn't going for the gusto, Tommy, be the one with the peanut in it?
To each his own.
One ball, 2 strikes. We got to figure the Braves have the 98-mile-an-hour fastball timed by now.
Oh, boy.
Seen plenty of them.
Oh. How do you not swing at that pitch?
Well, that was the one that got Chris Johnson. And Chris was sitting on the fastball, committed, and then couldn't stop. Gerald, that was a great take right there to force it to a full count.
If he gets on, do you pinch run for him? Who's your emergency catcher?
Pena could pinch run.
Catch.
Don't have to think about it.
98-mile-an-hour fastball for the first out. That's the 16th strikeout turned in by the Mets staff today. And the second straight for Parnell. Here's Uggla. He has walked, he has struck out, and he's reached on an infield hit and scored. And he's hit Parnell well.
Braves rally last night started after 1 out.
Justin Upton singled, and then Freeman homered to right. Last night, Dylan G was the second Met to lose a shutout on a walk-off hit. The first Met to have that misfortune, Roger Craig, in July of 1963.
Their second year of existence.
To third. Right gives ground. Has to unload quickly. And safe! Fairchild looked like he was in between and then raised both arms as the tying runs aboard in the 9th with 1 out.
Here's where a right-handed hitter has an advantage over a left-hander. When you have to swing at the pitch and follow through across home plate, you're already going down the line. And then he got some help from David Wright, who all day long has been backing up on balls. Didn't get enough on the throw. Great hustle by Dan. Braves are still alive.
Now Andrelton Simmons stands in. He too picked up an 8th inning hit. Line drive center field. Neuenhuis is going to get there. Andrelton hit it right on the button, but is out number 2. And the game rests on the shoulders of B.J. Upton, who will pinch hit. Well, let's see if Freddie Gonzalez plays his last card as his best card.
Wow, how about these numbers? Homer included, also a double. No strikeouts. Or have another M&M.
Take 2, they're small. 4-3 is the score. Good cut.
A little tardy. It's all right.
It's only the first 98 he's gotten to see today.
That's right. I'd just like to see Parnell throw him something down low and in. Maybe make a mistake with that slider down there. Right in BJ's wheelhouse.
As you'd expect, that's outfield deep. Cowgill's playing in Milton. Neuenhuis is in Alpharetta. Bird's almost in Savannah. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Yeah, I thought that was going to bite him a little bit on Andrelton's liner. I thought it was going to get down, but
and the wind is picking up for Upton. 1 ball, 1 strike. Downstairs.
It just got a lot cooler too. You feel a cool breeze kick up. Laser Baker and Flip Feinberg tell us that it's getting close.
Thunder starts to rumble too. 2 balls and a strike.
Again, a little bit above his comfort zone.
that's that one that's hard to lay off of, but it's man, is it hard to get to it.
Yeah, and it's probably a strike, but it's just hard to get on top of it.
Does he go there with the slider? 2-2.
I'm saying he's going there again.
That was that slider that got Johnson and Laird laid off of, but he spoiled it. Looked like a good pitch. Down and in.
Yeah, mistake slider. Down over the plate.
That's what happened last night. G made a mistake with his slider to Freddie.
Another 2-2 pitch. Ground ball to second. Murphy's got it. And his throw to first wins the game for the Mets. In game 1, New York survives and beats the Braves by a 4-3 final score. Matt Harvey picks up his 6th win for the Mets with a 13 strikeout performance. Back to Turner Field to talk about game 1's Met victory after this.